Well, I brought in recent Gold Pro,
Yeah.
Travis. Yeah, Travis Wizard,
What up?
and to talk a little bit about something that I think we've all suspected has been going on for a while. But I watched a video that you did.
Mm.
Go check out Travis' YouTube channel. It's excellent. I highly recommend subscribing. Uh, where you talked a little bit about some stuff going on with sealed adding cards. Would you mind maybe kind of just going back over that a little bit?
Yeah, so there's a lot of cheating in Magic. There's a lot more than people think. Well, there's a lot more than some people wish to believe. And some of the common ones are people pulling a card from their lap, or playing an extra land is really common. Have I played a land this turn? Stuff like that, or just having the wrong life total. But those ones, at least you can catch them when they happen. You can be like, hey, I saw that card come up. Or you have played a land, buddy, actually. Or no, you have the wrong life total. But what you can't really protect yourself from is people adding extra cards to their sealed deck. The only real protection right now is call a judge if you suspect something and ask for a deck check, which is not really very feasible at Grand Prix every time you lose to some outrageous decks, because you just don't know. But it's a big problem, and a bigger problem than most people realize. We had dinner with the judge at Richmond after day one, and he said in one round, 3 players were disqualified for adding cards to their deck. Okay, well, how many deck checks do you do a round? Either 2 or 4, he said. Are you kidding me? 4 deck checks, 3 of the people were adding cards. Same weekend.
That's
It's insane, right?
that seems totally absurd, and like not to at minimum, I feel like if 75% of the decks I checked had added cards, I'd probably be like, well, maybe we need to check a few more.
Right.
Uh, and nothing against the judges, right? I mean, I think we all agree that I mean, well, they should pay them, but then
Mhm.
that has cost to it. But they're always understaffed, and so doing all these deck checks just isn't really feasible.
Yeah, it's
And
not
that's why it's out of control, right?
exactly. So, first of all, I don't know. I have no idea what the percentage is. It's not 75%. It could be like 25%. It's definitely a lot. It's possible. I didn't hear, but it's possible that people called the judge because they were suspicious. That's
Oh,
the reason it
sure.
was a high percentage. But same weekend, GP Beijing, 7 players were disqualified. You go look back to GP Prague, one of the most recent sealed GPs, and they have this featured deck for Aether Revolt 2 Kaladesh. From the 2 Kaladesh packs, there were 3 Thriving Rhinos from 2 packs, 2 Pima Outriders, 2 Long Tusk Cubs, a foil Hangerback Walker, a Nissa, a Smuggler's Copter. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is fake news, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, that seems really unlikely.
Yeah, and then also at Richmond, one of the players who got DQ'd was a mid-level pro. I believe they're a silver pro. I'm not going to say their name, but you can go look up into the banned players list and you'll see their name there. They had a glory bringer in their deck that was not on their red sheet. So,
Yeah. So like here we have like a pleb and a pleb pro on the same call,
mhm.
but like I've always said this about cheaters is that like when they finally get caught, it was not their first time,
Yes,
right? They've been doing it for years,
probably.
and just like steroids in professional sports, right? Like people don't pee dirty on steroids the first time they do them. They've been doing them for a long time,
Yeah.
and it starts with playing against people like me in the local game stores,
Hmm.
and then it goes all the way up to playing maybe on the pro tour against someone like you, or a
Hmm.
high stakes event like a GP
Yeah.
or a PPTQ or something like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, it's a specific problem of sealed. It will happen a little bit in draft, but since, especially at GPs and Pro Tours, everything's stamped. So you would have to go trade with someone to get the card, or hope someone doesn't notice it's stamped. So you should always check to see if it's stamped. And even then, there's only 8 people in your pod, so you can kind of remember what was going around. But for sealed, there's 2,000 players for, I don't know, 50 judges, probably fewer. So it's just not possible. It's not all stamped. People, I've never been deck checked at a GP.
That's what I thought was pretty interesting when you mentioned that in your video. Sorry to interrupt, but my mind was mostly blown by like just how little people are checked, and then I was like, of course people cheat.
Yes.
Like if you know what I mean, like if you can look around and talk to 10 Magic players who go to a ton of events and none of them have ever been deck checked, why would you think that you would be?
Exactly. And then the EV of this cheat is so high. I mean, Donald Smith said it's almost like negative EV to not do it, because the difference between having 2 extra bomb rares in your deck and sealed, everyone knows that's a huge difference. Everyone knows you're probably not going to get caught. Now, a lot of people won't do it because they value honor and morality, or in my case, in many people's cases, the social cost of getting caught would be way, way too high, because you'd rather lose. You don't want to be kicked out of the community. It's just, but some people are not dissuaded by that, because they come into the community, they come into a GP, they don't know anyone, and they start right then. And then once they start, they don't stop. So,
yeah, I mean, it's especially with rares too. I mean, mythics are like more suspect, right? But you could play like a blue-red commons deck and just bring a glory keeper, a glory bringer, and a glyph keeper, and just have an insane deck.
Yeah,
like, I mean, it's just like it's not like you're bringing an outside deck. You could bring 2 cards and totally. I mean, what if you hit the jackpot and you open another glory bringer? Now you have 2 in your deck, and now you have a real decision. Like, ooh, I don't know if I want to play 2, because now people will really think I'm cheating.
Yeah, or people. I mean, I bet you people do things like bring a couple of the best commons, like add 2 gust walkers. You know, people will do whatever to win, because there's a social cost to getting caught, but there's such a social reward to winning, where people respect you, they think you're good. You get to win trips to go compete in the Pro Tour and win prize money and stuff like that. So I think it's totally, totally rampant, just from what I hear, like, and what I've seen.
It makes...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Again,
well, I was going to say...
Go ahead.
Shoot. I feel like... And, like, this is what's bad is it's super corrosive for the game, because now it gives everyone who's a sore loser, like, it's totally plausible now that they're just going to be like, oh, well, they cheated, you know, because it's just like, I think that's good, though, to expose it and then fix it, because I know for a fact I've played some. Now, it's, of course, anything is statistically possible, but at GP Milwaukee, I can remember one deck personally that was bananas, like all on colored rares and mythics, and I was like, man, you know, okay, I lose, you know, whatever, but like the deck was absurd, and yeah, it happens. But you mentioned there was a comment in one of your videos that you shared, anonymous comment. Now, could they be lying? Sure, of course. But, you know, I don't know. There's not a lot of incentive to looking like an asshole. And they said that they, of course, add them, and their justification for it was that everyone else does. So, of course, they have to.
Well, their justification, like that, right? And I find that comment trustworthy, because they're commenting on both my channels, all my videos. But part of their justification was they feel bad cheating, but they would feel worse losing to a cheater playing fair. So... this is what I'm going to do, and my recommendation. We can talk about it later, but there's things that how the GP system can be changed to prevent it. But until then, I'm going to be that sore loser that calls a deck check every time I lose to a ridiculous rare, because I don't know the percent. I know that people are cheating. I don't know the percentage of them, and that's the only way to have an advantage playing fair. Right now, there's no advantage playing fair. You're severely disadvantaged. It's unclear how much, right? But
it would appear so.
If you call a deck check, every time you lose to one of these decks, you will never lose to a deck check cheater. You will never, ever, ever, ever lose to someone cheating if you call a deck check every time. And then it becomes you're favored from playing honest all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You get free wins from it. You turn losses into wins. So that's what I recommend
Well,
people do until it gets fixed. Every time you lose to an outrageous rare, say, hey, that was cool, but before we sign the slip, I'm going to call a judge for a deck check. It's not that I think that you're a cheater, but I know that there's many, many, many cheaters here. And as a rule for myself, I refuse to ever lose to a deck check cheater. So it's my rule to do this every time. And the judges, I'll finish this in a moment. The judges have to do this because it's the only protection honest players have. And if the judges don't have the manpower to do it, then it doesn't matter. You have to do it. And that's when they'll implement the new system, which allows you to deck check the opponent. This is the solution that's really easy. Like, stamping cards is not the solution because people will trade with their teammates. It's known people do that. The actual solution is it's already going to all pre-regged. Very simple. You print 2 deck sheets. That's all you have to do is print 1 more deck sheet. It takes no more people. It takes an extra 1,000 sheets of paper, $5, right? And you carry that with you, and at the end of the sheet, you review each other's and make sure you didn't see anything that wasn't registered into the pool. And also, you don't have to fill out your deck list. You fill out your deck list and give it to the judges. This way, it fixes the scouting issue. So I look at your pool list. I don't know what's in your deck. I just know what was in your pool, right? So that's the complete solution. That's incredibly easy to implement, and I think it will happen.
Yeah, I think to touch on your first, I think the solution is elegant, and can it be gamed? Sure, but you also touch upon, like, a lot of cheat control is just systems that are in place that people are afraid of, and that may be, and certainly there may be a better solution, but this seems like an ultra easy first step to giving people peace of mind. And you know what? Like, it could be a real thing with GP attendance. Maybe there's people out there that are just like, I don't go to GPs anymore because people are, I'm up against an absurd amount of cheating, and I don't want to even go anymore. And now you give people some trustworthiness in the decks that they're going to be facing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been thinking. I've been considered I want to play in Vegas, but I considered, like, boycotting the limited event just until that gets fixed. Like, I don't want to, that's something I'm not going to do. I'm going to go with the call for a deck check solution, me personally.
Well, I think one major event when you have 200 people calling for deck checks after the end of every round is going to make a change. I mean, unfortunately, we don't want to like make it too tough on the judges, but at the same time, like, I'm going to take Channel Fireball in this video, and they're going to see it, and it seems like such an easy thing that they would just, they probably haven't even thought about it, or they don't want to acknowledge cheating, right? That's a big thing too.
Yeah. They don't want to, like, I guess so. And, there's a lot going on. I think it's unclear how common it is, but a lot of pros won't write about this stuff either. I have to wonder about that. And, but I think that's the solution, because if it's just me who's raising a big stir, it's not going to get done because, Channel Fireball and I are on reasonably good terms. I saw John Sasso in Mexico. We're cool, but I shouldn't be the force behind them making a change. There should be more content creators talking about this. So I think that's the solution.
I was surprised by just how many higher level players too were engaging in this conversation in the threads. And my initial take was like, well, if they can't fix it, then they need to just get rid of sealed GPs. But Wizards would hate that. They don't want. That opens product. Sealed makes the money. They need that. And I would. This is something I would like to see, even go down to the local game store level, where it's not unreasonable because they get their product several days in advance to just pre-register pools. It sucks that you can't open the pack. I mean, that is kind of a good part of pre-release, but it's the amount of coolness that is versus the feel bads of hearing stories later of somebody who
feels so
cheated.
bad when there's a 12-year-old kid with 4 Vampire Nighthawks, and you're like,
Yeah.
what? Come on, right?
And what do you do, right? Like, you're a grown man. You're not going to call some little kid a cheater.
Yeah.
And like, and even if, and any rational person, like, there's been several cases at pre-release, like on Sundays, where I was certain somebody was adding cards, but I didn't say anything because all it does is make me look like a sore loser.
Right.
Because I know they can't prove it.
That's why I want it to be normalized to have after the match, like, sign off on each other's sheets, because I'm going to have a hard time calling the judge. And a lot of people don't like confrontation. I kind of enjoy it, but it's still going to be hard to call a judge and say, hey, hang on, before I sign the slip that you won, I want a judge to check your deck to make sure you didn't cheat. That's hard for most people to do. What's not hard.
Oh, yeah. I think you're underestimating. I mean, I think it's like extraordinarily hard.
It is.
You know, in our social circle in the Magic, you're talking like less than 1% of people that have the stones to call a judge.
Yeah.
You know, it's even when they're right.
Yeah. But I mean, I just refuse to lose to these people. Too important. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's like, I can imagine it at Vegas or whatever, the next one, they're like, we're trying something new. You have 2 deck sheets, hang on to one. At the end of the round, sign off on the other person's. And then round 1, just a reminder, we're doing this new thing. Sign off on each other's deck sheets before you sign the match slip. Like, that's it. That's so easy, right? And
you have the right to refuse it. You know, if you're worried about it, like, you don't have to check your opponent's deck, you know? I mean, I imagine it's going to happen, but you know, I would not be inconvenienced by that, because the amount of comfort it brings me, and I'll be at Vegas too, and you and I will find the tallest staircase there, and we'll walk backwards down it together, and we'll do a vlog that way or something.
Yes.
And yeah, okay, well, I appreciate you coming on, because I didn't want to like steal your thunder and just kind of regurgitate a video that somebody else already made. But I do feel, as honestly an exclusively limited player, that this is super important to me. Like, the only GPs I go to are sealed.
Yeah.
And I go to pre-release, and I play sealed leagues on MTGO, which of course you can't add cards to, thankfully. Well, that I know of anyway.
You can't.
But yeah. But yeah, I think the solution is an elegant one. Of course, there may be a better solution, which of course I think players would be open to hearing about. And I look forward to them making a change before. Is Vegas the next one? It must be, right? We're less than a month away from that.
Yes. And by the way, this wasn't my idea. Some Twitter user named Wobbles commented on it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just,
this
is
true.
a good idea, so I'm going to spread it. I didn't come up with it.
Yeah, you did mention it in your video too, that credit where credit was due.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll be interesting. And then hopefully you and I can get together and do something out in Vegas. And maybe after this we can try to plan something, although I don't know. Your laissez-faire travel schedule may not allow for a lot of extra time. But
yeah, we'll be able to do it.
Yeah, we'll fit it in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you go to bed at like 6 o'clock then?
What? 6 p.m.?
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, I'm a normal person. I don't stay up too late. I don't go to sleep too early though.
Okay, perfect. Hey man, I appreciate you coming on, and I'll probably put this out on Saturday. So make sure everyone go check out Travis's channel. He's very interesting. His channel is growing good, and it's got a nice variety of content. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jeremy.